This is my academic case study speech, and I chose it on effective classroom assignment, also named classroom seating. And I chose this because I am working on a degree in education, and also because I'm a school bus driver, and I thought that maybe there could be some hints or some tips about a better way to seat students even on a school bus. So this article started first with listing 4 scenarios, and they spoke of different students, such as, first of all, a boy named Edward that was in 3rd grade that was 8 years old. He was a distracted student, and he needed to be seated by the chalkboard. And the teacher wanted to change things so that his distractions were minimized. The next one was Sherry, a 1st grader, 7 years old. She had medical issues where she had a issue with her bones breaking, and she had missed lots of school last year, so she had been held back. So the teacher needed to arrange the room in a special way so that she wasn't subjected to danger, but yet that she also got the entire substance of the class. And then there was Marcus, a 2nd grader that was 7 years old, and he had issues with constant motion, and he needed a way for the teacher to reduce the distractions in the room because he continued to interact with things, people, and objects around him, whether it be a trash can or whatever. He was in constant motion, so the teacher needed to move him off by himself. Then there was a group that they spoke of, a group of 4th graders that had a lab together, and they were special ed students that had been integrated into the classroom, but they needed to be treated differently. Each one had different personalities and different needs, so the teacher would have to have special ways of seating them so that each one could receive the education that they needed. And then lastly, they spoke of Donna, a 5th grader, and she was 10 years old. She was also a special education student, and she followed direction well, but she had difficulty with reading, and the teacher wanted to seat her in a place where she could maximize her reading opportunities and get better grades in her reading. So the article spoke of different techniques and different tips on what a teacher could do to help each one of these students to receive what they needed in the classroom. The main thing was to minimize distractions for each one, and that could be things like even windows or doors, pencil sharpeners, trash cans, fish tanks, computers, any objects in the room that a child might interact with rather than paying attention in the class and doing their work. There were also high traffic areas that the teacher needed to be careful of in rearranging the students to avoid any congestion or issues in the classroom. You had to be careful not to seat someone in the way of a trash can or a pencil sharpener. And they also had to have accessibility to the teacher's desk. The teacher has to identify these distractions mainly, whether it be trash can, doors, windows, whatever, in order to have the ultimate seating arrangement so that each student could work at their best. One of the tips that they said for a teacher to do was to try out the seat for themselves when the students weren't around and sit in that seat and notice if there was any distractions or anything around them that may need to be removed, whether it would be a computer with a brightly lit screen or a trash can or whatever. Sitting in the seat themselves, they can see those things from the student's perspective. And then they need to have to be able to alter those distractions, whether it be draping a computer screen, closing a window, closing a door, anything like that. The teacher also needed to make sure that all the students were facing the instruction and that everybody had a clear line of sight. So sitting in the student's seat gave the teacher that perspective to see if the student had a clear line of sight. They also had to make sure that the arrangement that they chose for the students was suiting the purpose. And to also remove any unnecessary things around the student that could cause distractions. They needed to make sure any student with special needs, safety concerns, was out of harm's way, and alter any distractions. So after looking through this, I saw some things for myself, whether it be in your own home, in a classroom, in a business office. There were several tips for better arrangement, regardless of the situation, that anybody could utilize even in their own home. In using this, I hope to be able to seat children better because it gave me some ideas for myself and opened my eyes to some ideas that I hope to use in the future.